Third time's a charm. Uncle Ron's stuff. This is about a driveway pressure washer attachment that you can buy that supposedly helps you clean a concrete patio or maybe even a deck. I don't know. Maybe it's. This one is 14 inches, aluminum bodied, and it usually looks like this. And this is where you attach the arm of your pressure washer. And this particular one does not carry a manufacturer's label. I don't know who made this one. It is four-wheeled. It is 14 inches. If you look on the web to buy one of these, you'll see they all look the same. And I would be willing to bet that the bulk of them are made by the same company, probably in China. And they push in into the metal or put a sticker on it, a manufacturer's name. But one company is making them all. And I have to admit, it's built like a tank. Every bolt, every nut, it's Allen wrenches. Allen wrenches on this thing are incredibly tight. I mean, they put them on with like, I don't know, 50 foot-pounds. A lot of torque went on to that Allen wrench. But this is kind of what it looks like. And underneath, you have this. And there is an arm that sits on here and gets threaded on. And the arm has two nozzles on either end, like this. And the idea is when you attach your pressure washer, these nozzles will spin around. The nozzles are pointed in opposite directions, and that gives it a kick to rotate around. Okay, well, it has stopped rotating. And it shouldn't do that. I was able to use it to flood the area with water, although I began to notice that even one of the nozzles was not particularly turning well. So it was time to take it apart. Now, again, the major problem I had was that this arm right here was not spinning freely. So first thing I did without taking the arm off is take some WD-40 and shot down in this bearing here. And WD-40 is really not a lubricant, it's more of a cleaner. And I tried to get it clean, and then I used some silicone spray down in there. That didn't do it. I think I even poured some motor oil in there. That didn't do it. There's something that's binding up this bearing in the middle. This arm that fits on here is not rotating freely enough in that bearing to spin. Okay, so to get to this bearing, if you look at the top, you go, well, how do you do that? Okay, there are three, I actually had three Allen bolts that hold this top piece to the base. I did manage to get those out. They are on tight. I did manage to get those out. I did manage to get the arm off the shaft. And so this part is just aluminum housing with no consequence. Now, this guy, I did take these spray heads off and made sure they were clean, and they were not. There was stuff inside of them, and you go, well, it's just shooting water. But it's going through the pressure washer, and maybe the pressure washer is leaking oil, or I don't know, there's just dirt in the water. Anyway, I did have to clean these out well, and I did use an air compressor to help with all that. I'm sure they're clean. There are, I have no idea why particularly, there are Allen wrench bolts here in the end. I can't get them to turn. I don't know why they would be there to start with. It's kind of odd. I don't understand their function. Anyway, now I'm left with this. And this is a mystery to me. If you look at this piece, it appears that this whole piece, from the top to the bottom, is all one piece of I think it's steel. I don't think it's aluminum, but it could be aluminum. I don't know. I'm not that good on metals, but the point being is, down here at the bottom, okay, I want to get to this bearing and figure out what's wrong with it. there was a, what is it called, an O-ring clip? Is that what it's finally called? There is an O-ring clip down here. I did manage to get that off because I have a pair of these that you can stick in and then contract or expand, and I got the O-ring off. Big whoop, doesn't help me in any way. That is not keeping this bearing in place, or if it is, I can't get it off. Again, up here I tried to take an Allen wrench to this bolt, and even with this position like that, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to pull it this way and loosen it. So I would in fact be rotating it like this. Even using that as a stop for this top piece, I can not yet get that bolt out. And even when I do, I'm not sure what I'm going to find. But I'd like to get this bearing out. And so far I can't. Really impressive piece of metal work and really impressive torque job on all these Allen wrenches or torques, whatever they are. But anyway, but the arm doesn't rotate. I've had this for maybe 3 years. All of a sudden it doesn't work anymore. Well, it probably wasn't all of a sudden. It probably happened. I wasn't even aware of it. But this has to do, important, the focus and point is the long-term reliability of such devices. They look really good. You think they're going to help you, you know, with your driveway instead of 3,000 psi with a needle point trying to get the dirt off. You use this and it's going to be magic, and it's going to take all the dirt off, and you're just going to be able to do the job 100 times faster. No, it doesn't really work like that. It will never work like that. You're going to have to be real slow with this. It will work if it's spinning, but I'm telling you, in this particular case, after a while, it stops spinning. And there's no clear instructions, directions, or anything else about how you're getting it spinning again. And it's really too bad because the thing is built like a tank. So I don't know what to tell you. If you're looking at one of those, and they're called driveway attachment or something like that, if you're looking at one of those, just keep in mind that maybe 3 or 4 years, and I don't even know, it might not even work right out of the box. But that bearing there is the key to that rotation, and the shaft is not spinning in the bearing, or the bearing needs oiling or grease or something, and you think, well, it's going to have water pressure on it. I don't know what I'm thinking here, but I need to get to the bearing and make sure something's not right. It's not spinning freely, and it should. Maybe inside there's a gearworks. I don't know. I can't get into it yet. Anyway, this is Uncle Ron's stuff. This had to do with the old, and this is a 14-inch surface cleaner. That's what it's called. Has an arm underneath. Great wheels. I mean, like I said, it's built like a tank. Every one of these Allen nuts on bolts on here are just on really tight. You're gonna need some pump to get them off. That's enough for this one. Uncle Ron's stuff today is the 10th of July, 2024. It's hot outside. I was doing some mowing. I've taken a break, and that's why you get me today. That's it for today. Uncle Ron's stuff. This is pressure washer attachment, driveway 14-inch rotary cleaner. Uncle Ron's stuff. This is pressure washer surface cleaner part 2. And I already sort of handled this in part 1, but I told you I'd get back to you if I ever got any farther with it, and I have, so I'm going to show it to you. First of all, this up here, I did manage to get this torque or Allen, whatever it is, out, and pulled this apart. And all it is, this is a shaft that extends over to the other end. This Allen wrench, Allen wrench bolt just keeps it in here, and all it is it's got a rubber washer on either end and a hole in the shaft. So water comes in here it just goes like into the middle, and there's a hole in that piece, and it just shoots water in there. That's it. It is not, this piece is not directly connected to this shaft right here that is coming out from above. And as far as I can tell, this is all one piece. This big giant mass here, which gets bolted to the bottom with 3 screws, three bolts. What I did, and is interesting, if you look on the bolt pattern for me, I have 3 bolts, and I also have a hole over here, which right there, which has not been threaded. It is just a hole down in this portion of it right here. So I had before, I'd taken this arm off. I never tightened it back up when I put it on. Anyway, I told you there was a clip down here that I had to use this tool on to get out, and I expected the whole bearing to come out at that point. It didn't, but underneath of this clip there was just a fiber rubbery sort of washer, and I took that out, and that's why this clip's in place, is to just hold that rubbery sort of washer over the end of the bearing here. Underneath of that, it isn't a bearing per se, it's just some sort of metally ring, and I guess its intent is to be a bearing, but it's not a bearing. It doesn't have ball bearings in it per se. It's just a metal ring that sits in there. I was unable to get that out. It looks like it's all been pressed down in there. So what I did in the end was I put some oil down into this. I also tried thinking, well, perhaps this one hole right here, which has not been threaded for a bolt, maybe that's an oil point, and I did pour some oil down in there, thinking perhaps it would get down in behind this bearing. But my impression is, again, this whole piece is one solid piece of, let's say, aluminum, all one polish. The water comes in up here. The water comes in right here, and it just is introduced in this top half, and the water is then just pushed down and is supposed to come out this guy here, which just sets in this bearing, and it's obviously been pressed in. I cannot get this piece to come out no matter what I do, and this piece, of course, is attached to the big piece, and I just don't see any way to. So again, I took this off. It really didn't solve anything. I did manage to get it off. It is just a entry point for the water. It is not connected to that shaft on the inside. So I did try to put some oil down in that hole, thinking, well, maybe that'll do it. But I don't understand it. Water is just coming and filling up a cavity in here and being forced out this pipe right here. And the bearing itself, if you think about it, is probably just floating in water. Yeah, the water that's being forced into here is setting over that bearing, and the only out is this shaft here, which is supposed to be spun and rotated by the nozzles on each end of the shaft, and I have it turning fairly freely now. You can see it. I think before I couldn't even, this way it actually spins a couple times before it stops. But it's not perfect, and that's the best I can do. Anyway, I wanted to show you that I did get the arm, this piece, undone. It was really put on there. I did it undone, but there's really nothing there. There are rubber seals on it on either side. Big whoop. Other than that, this shaft that connects here just goes over, and it's held in place by this nut. Nothing to do with the bearing. It's not connected in any way. It just introduces water into the top, which then is forced into this chamber, which is then the only escape route is out that bib that sticks out, which is connected to this spinning wheel. I don't know. I haven't tried it since I tried to get oil down into it. I might take a pressure, have a air compressor, and I may try forcing some air down through this, which may, if I ever manage to get any oil down inside of here somehow, may force some of that oil down into the bearing where it looks like it's just around rubber, and it's not really a bearing. It's just a spinning shaft and a rubber, and yeah, I guess maybe the water is supposed to be the bearing. I don't know. Anyway, that's enough of this. This is a surface cleaner attachment. This one happens to be a 14-inch. They all look the same. They're all probably manufactured by the same guy. Again, I haven't tightened this arm up on here. It is flat on one side, so you can get a wrench on it and then tighten this moving arm up. But anyway, I've tried to correct the non-spinning issue. And that's it for today. This is part 2. I hate to throw stuff like this away. I sure would like to get it spent. Maintenance. I was told a long time ago, everything needs maintenance, and I guess that's the truth. Uncle Ron stuff. That's it for today. Today is the 12th of July, 2024.